In this video, we're going to talk about cybersecurity burnout. It's a real problem we're seeing a lot at the moment. We're going to give you advice on how to find out if you might be affected by it and what you can do about it. Many organizations find themselves on this security sort of treadmill of dread, which is that you're constantly having to think about, have I patched my stuff? What about the new attacks? What about the new phishing campaigns? Do I know how to pick them up? Does my tools already work for that, or do I have to think about something else? So that's what causes this kind of burnout feeling. And that, of course, has a material impact on the overall organization because you're not innovating, you're not learning new things. You might lose good resources, you might lose great talent in your team. So how can you tell if your business is likely to be affected by burnout? There's a few things that we've found that are key indicators. Things like, do you have an individual that's responsible for security, but that's not their only job? They're having to do multiple things and the business is not investing and giving them enough time to spend on that, and so they're being pulled out of projects to try and address security problems when their day job is maybe doing something completely different, and then they get into burnout because they don't know what to prioritize first. Cybersecurity is really important, but then they're not getting their projects done, which links us nicely to the next problem, which is it becomes too bureaucratic. The business is so focused on meeting compliance requirements that they'll end up overdoing it, not really making compliance work for them, and then the policies and procedures become so onerous that people don't follow them. Also, organizations that try to do everything in-house and avoid going to third-party suppliers because they want more control, or it's a cost-saving exercise and they try to get people internally to do the project, often land up in a situation where your teams will get burnt out because they're trying to do too much. So what can you do about it? What should a business be thinking about? How do they make sure that they reduce the risk of their staff getting burnout and also improve their security along the way? Well, there's a couple of really good things and very simple things that you can do. Things like automating as much of the things that you do day to day that become very manual tasks from a cybersecurity perspective. Let's say, for argument's sake, an organization that hasn't automated their patching. There's many reasons why you might not do that on your critical systems, but for your workstations, your laptops, your devices you're using with your employees, you should be able to automate those the updates of those systems, and most people will have already done that. So automating as much of the things you can. Also reducing things like alert fatigue, ensuring that your teams are not spending all their day researching threats coming from tools and intel feeds that aren't really relevant to that business or that individual. Really getting them laser focused on just the things that are really important to the organization that could have an impact and could have a risk of the organization getting compromised. You can also look at using third-party suppliers, but as we mentioned earlier, it's really important that you understand what your shared responsibility looks like, what are they going to do for you, and what are the things that you still need your staff to be tasked to do if the third-party supplier doesn't do it. Also, there are other things you can look to do, such as implementing new technologies, service providers, MSPs, MSPs that can help to take on a bit more responsibility, often helps you to ensure that you don't have a single point of failure with your staff internally, that if they get sick or unwell and they're the expertise in that space, you've still got somebody else to go to. And the last thing I would always say, and I've said this for many, many years now, reduce the attack surface. Reduce the things that an attacker can go after means that your staff don't have quite as many things to worry about and to have to protect against. And that means that they can spend more time focusing on improving the protection of those really critical assets in your organization. Often from a cybersecurity professional perspective, we don't expect the business as a whole to be cyber experts. They just need to understand enough about cybersecurity and the impact of an attack on the business and where the risks are to help the business invest in cybersecurity in a strategic way that improves the overall security of the company. So you don't have to be an expert, you just need to really understand your business well enough to know what you're protecting. I think it's a really important problem that businesses should be aware of. Look out for the signs we've mentioned in the video, but equally, if you do need some support or you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. I think one thing you might want to consider doing is going back and looking at the key points that we've made in the video and maybe doing an assessment, a gap assessment, an audit of your own organization to see, do we have like a clear attack surface area? Is it large? Do we have the right resources we need? Are we investing the right money in the budget? Do we have complex policies and procedures that are hard to follow? And what can we do to ensure that we're staying ahead of the latest threats without impacting and causing burnout within our teams? Thanks for watching. We'd love to see you on the next one.